Hello everyone, this is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I want to share a Instagram tarot challenge that was posted by Lionharts. His Instagram is Lion, Lionharts. And he does, I think so far he's done every month, a tarot challenge. And each month has a particular theme. I normally don't have time to do these challenges because you have to remain dedicated for most of the month. But the theme that he had for September was one that just it called to me, and it seemed like it was obvious for me to at least explore the challenge. So what Lionhearts has done is he's created an Astrology Tarot Challenge. And as you've known, the last almost a month now, I've been discussing astrology correspondences, influences within the tarot. So this challenge that he has, it's hashtag Astro Tarot Challenge, and this is all on Instagram, not on YouTube. And what he's done is to go through the 12 houses for the month of September. So the way he broke this up is there's one day in between a certain amount of houses. I think maybe every 3 houses there's a day where you start prepping and looking into the information of the houses for the following week, and just to do some research. And then the next day, you pull your card for that particular house, and there's questions for each day, and you answer the question through the tarot. So what I've done is because of my time schedule and what I need to get done, I am actually combining a certain amount of days with the houses. So for instance, I'm behind because he started this September 1st. So what I've done is I've pulled cards for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd house to catch me up from days 2 to 7. And then on the 8th day is that extra day to kind of look into the houses for the 4th, 5th, and 6th house, which represents the following week. And those are for days 9 through 14. So 9 through 14 will be houses 4, 5, and 6. This is the way I'm doing it. And he's had individual questions for each day, but what I'm doing is, since I'm combining these, I'm choosing one question, and I'm going to apply it for each house. So I'm going to go through all the houses, the 12 houses, but I'm going to do it probably finish it up within the week. So over the next probably 2 weeks, I will give my input towards what I pulled in relation to the houses. And this I felt is a good exercise because as I'm exploring astrology, I'm still trying to get a grasp of the planets and the signs in each house. That may be simple for quite a few of you, but for me, I have to slow down the process and take the information in differently, because obviously the position of the sign and the planets in each house will vary the outcome of that house. Even though it still rules particular attributes, the position determines the outcome, the positions of the signs in the planets. So what I'm going to show you right now are the first 3 houses, and then maybe later on this week I will introduce houses 4, 5, and 6 to represent the following week. The deck or the decks that I'm going to be working with, you don't necessarily have to use multiple decks. You can use one deck that just speaks to you. But in this case, I want to work with a few decks. And the decks that I felt strong about for doing this challenge are these. And each week I may use a different deck, or maybe one week I'll use only one deck. I have to see how it works for me. So I have the Dreams of Gaia. It's one of the decks I'll be using. I'm going to be using the larger version of this deck. I'm going to be working with the Pagan Otherworlds. And my homework deck, Tarot of the Holy Light. A very nature, animal, spirited person. So I thought, let me use a nature-inspired deck. So I'm going to do the Nature Spirit Tarot to represent one of the houses. The first three houses. The first house represents the self. Second house represents our possessions, how we obtain it, if we lose our possessions, the actions that we take to it. The first house of the self represents how people see us, how we naturally are in the face of other people. And then the third house deals with communication. The first house is ruled by Aries. Second house, because it is of possessions, is Taurus. And the third house for communication is ruled by Gemini. And I forgot to mention, if you want to do this Astro Tarot challenge, you go to Instagram at Lionharts, Lionharts. I'll put everything in the description. And he has the breakdown of the questions for each day. So I think this would be fun if anyone does participate in this. Put in the hashtag Astro Tarot Challenge and make reference. Please give credit to Lionhearts on Instagram, so people can follow through, or they could do their own challenge. But please give credit to the person who created this particular challenge. Don't take it and claim it as your own and use the same questions, so on and so forth. Let's keep it ethical and keep it fair for everyone who's involved. Okay, so I'm going to read the question, the houses and the sign that these three houses are based in individually. So for the first house, which is, like I said, ruled by Aries, and it represents manners of the self. First card I got, and actually my first house is actually in Aries. So the first card that I pulled, I decided to use Dreams of Gaia. Let me move this here. I got Journey. And I'll go here a little closer. So with the Journey for the first house, in my first house it's Aries, what I take from this is basically the experience that I've had from my previous decades of being on this planet, and how it's actually shaped me. Again, with the card of the Journey, it's just that. It's the lessons, it's the experience that we've taken in this lifetime, and how we perceive things as we get older. So when I received this card for the first house to represent the first house in Aries, it felt right. Aries are known to be initiators and go-getters. It's a fiery sign. So this is what I take for the first house in Aries. This is the Journey card from the Dreams of Gaia. Okay, for the second card, it's the second house. Again, rules possessions, how our relationship with money. My second house is ruled in Gemini. And the card that I pulled for this is the Three of Swords. And I used the Pagan Otherworlds deck for this. So Three of Swords as hardship, loss, despair. And because the second house is in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, I take this card not so much of loss and despair, but I take it as a different way of my relationship with finances. The question that I had, I forgot to mention, the first house in Aries. Let me show you this very quickly. The first house in Aries, the question that I chose was, what direction am I to personally grow towards starting this month? And then again, the card I used was Journey, and I based it on previous experiences and how it shapes me throughout my years to where I am right now. So that was the question for the first house. What direction am I to personally grow towards starting this month? Sorry about that. And then the second card. What untapped resources do I currently have that could support my personal wealth? And so with that, as I mentioned, it's not so much despair, but with my second house being ruled by Gemini, there's some stuff that I need to start looking into. The swords represent the mind. The heart obviously represents the emotions. It feels like there's some untapped, if you will, unhidden, or hidden resources that I need to really look into. There's some information that I really need to explore. I need to do some mental soul searching. That's how I described this card, to really see about these resources and how they could support me at a personal level. Now, this could be spiritual resources. Doesn't necessarily have to be finances. But again, with Gemini, it's creating that balance of the mind and understanding how to work with the current situation, but also connecting with the heart and to delve in deeper into the matter. So again, the question for this is, what untapped resources do I currently have that could support my personal wealth? So I have to work on this. Okay, that was the second house, which is ruled by Gemini. My third house is in Cancer. Third house is of communication. And the card that I chose was from the Dreams of Gaia. It's the emotion and intellect. Very similar to the Three of Swords, the balancing of the heart and the mind. But the question that I got for the third house is, what more do I have to offer that could benefit the communities that I am a part of? And this card in particular from the Dreams of Gaia is from the element of water. The Dreams of Gaia doesn't use the tools of wands, clubs, swords, or pentacles. It works with the elements. So it's water, fire, air, and earth. And this card is just wonderful. That it's asking me to communicate in a different manner, using that balance between the heart and the mind, but clearly exploring those aspects. And again, the question was, what more do I have to offer that could benefit the communities that I am part of? And again, it's just the decisions that I make, just bring that awareness. Don't let one aspect overtake one over the other. This could be a time of realigning the heart, realigning the mind, to make those shifts, to think differently and to feel differently. And by doing so, you're better able to communicate with the communities. This card's very important. And my relationship with the tarot community is growing. And it's been wonderful to see everyone's perspective towards spirituality and towards individual identity and how it relates to them when working with divination tools as the tarot, witchcraft, whatever your system is. By understanding ourselves and exploring that, we can better work with the tools that we have. We can understand those aspects so much more. And that's what helps us grow. So again, with my first house, it's the journey. Previous experiences throughout my life to where I am now makes you who you are. I'm happy I'm not the same person that I was, decades ago. We shift, we grow, we learn. And then, of course, the second house, normally ruled by Taurus, but for me, it's in the sign of Gemini for possessions. And the question, again, I just want to repeat this, is what untapped resources do I currently have that could support my personal wealth? And the card I pulled was the Three of Swords. And so again, it's a conflict between the mind and the heart, and going into those resources. Look to see what's there that I'm really not seeing. This is a card that's telling me to go in a little bit more and to create that balance between the heart and the mind. That's the premise of the Three of Swords for me. It can indicate loss and despair and sadness, but you have to also look at the other side. That what's the crux of it? Is it more of the heart? Are you feeling more heavier in the heart? Are you overthinking too much? Are you rationalizing too much? We have to create that balance between here and here. Okay, third house is for communication, and that's normally ruled by Gemini, but in my house, third house, it's ruled by Cancer. So, repeating again, from the dreams of Gaia, it's emotion and intellect. Creating that balance between the heart and the mind. Explore that to better create an experience with those that you're working with in the community. So those are my houses, the first 3 houses for the Astro Tarot Challenge by Lionharts. And if you have any questions about this, I think this is a wonderful exercise. So if you are exploring astrology with the tarot, this is a good exercise because it is focusing more on the houses. And so you get to know the relationship of your house, of your sign in each house, but also take into account the sign that is normally ruled in that house. So for me, it's the first house is ruled by Aries. That's my ascending sign, which is the first house, which is Aries. Second house, which is normally ruled by Taurus, which is very strong for material wealth and personal well-being. But for me, it's the second house. It's in Gemini. So you weigh out the differences between Gemini, your sign, and Taurus, the sign that rules the second house. And then the third house, which is normally ruled by Gemini, in relation to communication and how we work on an everyday basis, that sign for me is in Cancer. So it goes to show for me that it's working with the heart and the mind, just plain and simple. Keeping things balanced. If you have to shift anything, find where you have to shift it more. You have to lessen or increase more the heart aspect of what's going on, lessen or increase the mind aspect of what's going on. You know, it's a soundboard. You know, you're constantly having to fine tune um, aspects of who you are to work in certain situations and to understand it. So it's really important to get that grasp of the signs and how they make us work, and also in relation to the tarot. So that is it. I will put all the information in the description for this challenge. And I'd like to get feedback. If any of you do this, let me know your results. This is an Instagram challenge, so you can reach me on Instagram at the Mystic Rose Tarot. And then, of course, here on YouTube. You got my name right there, the Mystic Rose Tarot. And then my website's www.themysticrosetarot.com. I do readings. I'm going to be focusing more than likely for the rest of the year with astrology aspects in the tarot, because there's just so much information. So I'm really liking what I'm coming across and the knowledge that I'm getting. So I want to share it with each and every one of you. So have a wonderful day, evening, and give me your feedback. I'd like to know if you do this challenge, how it's working for you. So again, this is for the month of September. I'm going to be speeding through this a little bit, as I mentioned earlier. So the next video that I do will show houses 4, 5, and 6, which will represent the second week of this Astro Tarot Challenge by Lionharts. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you soon.